PTSD in veterans is a real crisis. EurekaAlerts.org's Ann Arbor states in her June 24, 2019 posting titled Suicide, Accidents, and Hepatitis that veterans with PTSD are 2 times more likely to die from suicide than the general population. In my speech, I'm going to inform you about the different side effects of PTSD, which include suicide, war, and trauma. I am now going to tell you how suicide is a side effect of PTSD. PTSD is a side effect of suicide. Oftentimes, people will leave a message behind to their loved ones saying that they're sorry or that they just couldn't handle it. In a 2012 personal interview with an active duty soldier described a sergeant in the United States Army who had been deployed to Afghanistan 3 times and Iraq once. He was preparing for the military ball. He came over to our house and helped us unload our vehicles for moving. On a Saturday, that evening was the military ball, and he was very excited to go. Everything went on as planned, and he went to work Monday and was not acting himself. He went home over his lunch hour and did not return. He shot himself in the garage with his children and his wife in the house. He had left a note on the seat of his car. Medication is a treatment of some of those who suffer from suicidal thoughts due to PTSD, but it is not a cure. I just told you about how PTSD influences suicide. Now I'm going to tell you how PTSD affects a veteran of war. PTSD is a side effect of war. Going overseas takes a major toll on a veteran. When a veteran goes into combat, there's a lot that is going through his mind. Sometimes you get to watch your fellow comrades get killed. In a 2017 personal interview with my great-uncle Robert, who was in live combat in Vietnam, when he first arrived there, he found a little boy that was only a year or 2 old, whose parents had been killed. He took him in, and while he was there, he cared for him for almost 2 years. When it was time for them to return home, they wanted to take this little boy with them, but they said no. They shot and killed this little boy in front of him all. He still remembers this to this day. There are a lot of things that go through the mind of a veteran who is returning home. Loud noises affect veterans in many ways. In a 2020 personal interview with my father, Jason Bashulik, who was in live combat in Afghanistan, after combat, he can now not handle loud noises. On the 4th of July, our family cannot attend the fireworks show because of his PTSD. Instead, we have to have a campfire. Veterans Families United Foundation, on its website, veteransfamilyunited.org, last updated 2020, states that hypersensitivity, overly sensitive to light, sound, etc., can be a symptom of several things. Large groups affect veterans in many ways. My father also cannot handle large groups after combat. Family functions were never a huge thing for him. When we would go to them, he would always feel like someone was watching him. So he put his back to the wall every chance he could get. We had to accommodate for that. I just told you how PTSD affects a veteran of war. Now, I'm going to tell you how PTSD affects a civilian's trauma. PTSD is a side effect of trauma. Intrusive memory affects that of trauma. Recurrent, unwanted, distressing memories of the traumatic event. Relieving the traumatic event flashbacks. Often, these are happened at night. Upsetting dreams or nightmares. Emotional or physical reactions due to the traumatic event. The Mayo Foundation for Medical Education and Research, MFMER, on its website, mayoclinic.org, last assessed September 20th, 2020, states that if you have disturbing thoughts and feelings about a traumatic event for more than a week, they're severe, and you should seek treatment immediately to prevent PTSD symptoms getting any worse. Your thinking and mood affects that of trauma. Negative thoughts about yourself or other people in the world. Difficulty maintaining close relationships. feeling detached from family and friends, not going to family events, lack of interest in activities you once enjoyed. I just told you how PTSD affects a civilian's trauma. I'm going to wrap up my speech. As you can see, veterans are severely affected by PTSD. In my speech, I informed you about the different side effects that PTSD can have, which are suicide, war, and trauma. Just because someone acts normal does not mean they are normal.